Since I learned to read, I have never been bored again. I grew up in Nebraska, but through the pages of books, I traveled to Terabithia and Narnia and Sweet Valley, California. My friends and I used to role play Sweet Valley High. It was sort of the 1980s gateway to romance. For the past 10 years, I have been reading and blogging almost exclusively about romance novels. I've traveled across the country. I have met authors and friends, and I have found community with other lovers of love. But not everyone is in love with a romance novel. An early 2010 survey of non-romance readers described it as fluff reading for not very bright individuals, among other things. Boo, exactly. So you might now be asking yourself, well, what is it that makes a book a romance? First of all, romance must be central to both the story and the plot. And maybe more importantly, there must be an HEA, or a happily ever after. From there, romance can span multiple subgenres. So we could have historical or contemporary, or the very, very popular new romantasy category. But when we read, regardless of what it is, we get the opportunity to see a different world. Maybe it is wealth or poverty, same-sex relationships, families. It might be trauma or emotional, mental illness, or maybe it is addiction or recovery. Whatever it is, we get the opportunity to see the world through someone else's eyes. And we cannot help but walk away from that experience as changed people, even if it's in a romance. Romance novels, because they have the HEA and because they combine the HEA with popular tropes, they really get a bad rap that they are formulaic and predictable. People will say that romance novels aren't really respectable literature. They are dismissed in the way that people talk about them. And so while the world is over here sort of looking down their noses at the romance book, the genre is just over here doing its own thing and pretty much kicking ass. Romance novels last year, $1.44 billion in sales. And with 40% of the entire fiction publishing, essentially romance props up publishing as a whole. Right? Absolutely. So why, with these impressive statistics, are both men and women still disparaging the romance? Well, that could be in part to the fact that 84% of romance readers are female. And more than 80% of novels are authored by female writers, written by women and for women, and focused on things like female empowerment, pleasure, and joy. We underestimate the genre in the same way that we underestimate happiness, optimism, and even women in general. So romance novels talk about sex. But they also focus on female empowerment, consent, and emotional intimacy. When we read, we get the chance to experience what others see. When women read romance books, they get to see the female main characters see their dreams come true. And we get the opportunity to see life and love reflected in ways that really count. Personally, I read romance because I love, love. It makes me happy, and it offers an escape. And when I finish a book and I put in the emotional effort and the time, I want to know that it ends well, and I want it to pay off. And so, in the end, I have found confidence in proudly proclaiming I am a romance reader. Thank you. And whether it is Gone Girl, or you're reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, or if you're reading 50 Shades of Grey, no one should have to apologize for what they love to read. And if we find love, hope, and a happily ever after, even better.